In the ruins of World War II, as Europe struggled to rebuild, Greece became the first battleground of the Cold War. A bitter struggle between brothers, neighbors, and former comrades erupted into full-scale civil war. It was a conflict that would shape the destiny of Greece for generations and send shockwaves far beyond its borders. The roots of the Greek Civil War lay in the brutal years of Nazi occupation. When Germany invaded in 1941, Greece was plunged into starvation, repression, and resistance. Underground groups formed to fight the occupiers, and the largest among them was ELAS, a communist-led movement that liberated swathes of the countryside. By the time the Germans retreated in 1944, ELAS controlled much of Greece, and the communists believed they had earned the right to lead the nation. But Greece's government in exile, backed by Britain, returned determined to restore the monarchy and re-establish pre-war authority. Tensions between ELAS fighters and government forces exploded in Athens in December 1944 in a bloody showdown known as the Dekemvriana. British troops intervened directly, crushing the left-wing insurgents and forcing a fragile and uneasy peace. Yet beneath the surface, resentment and distrust only grew stronger. By 1946, the truce had shattered. The Communist Party of Greece, facing persecution, arrests, and political exclusion, retreated to the mountains and reorganized its fighters into the Democratic Army of Greece. The government, meanwhile, bolstered by British support and later by American aid through the Truman Doctrine, mobilized its own forces to eliminate the insurgency. Greece became the front line of a new global struggle, democracy versus communism. The war quickly turned into a brutal guerrilla conflict. In the rugged mountains of northern Greece, communist fighters launched ambushes, seized villages, and attempted to build liberated zones. The government responded with large-scale counter-insurgency operations, mass arrests, and population displacements. Civilians were caught in the middle, accused of aiding one side or the other, often punished by both. Villages burned, families fled, brothers fought on opposite sides of the same valley. Foreign powers played a decisive role. Britain, exhausted by war and financial collapse, gradually handed responsibility to the United States. American advisors, military equipment, and millions of dollars in aid poured into Greece. Meanwhile, the communist fighters relied on support from neighboring Yugoslavia, Albania, and Bulgaria, though their aid was limited, often inconsistent, and complicated by the growing rift between Stalin and Tito. By 1948, the tide began to turn. The Greek government, now better equipped and reorganized under American guidance, launched a series of massive offensives. The communist strongholds in the Gramos and Vitsi mountains were bombarded from the air and attacked from multiple fronts. As borders tightened and foreign support waned, the Democratic Army struggled to survive. By the summer of 1949, its last positions collapsed under overwhelming pressure. The Civil War, after years of suffering, was over. The cost was devastating. More than 150,000 people were killed. Entire regions were depopulated. Political divisions hardened into scars that would last for decades. Tens of thousands of communist fighters and civilians fled into exile, many never to return. Greece emerged victorious but deeply fractured, haunted by suspicion, authoritarian policies, and a society divided between left and right. The Greek Civil War was more than a domestic conflict. It was the first flashpoint of the Cold War, the moment when global superpowers realized that ideology could ignite violence even within a single nation. It was a struggle born from occupation, resistance, and the desperate hopes of a people seeking a future after catastrophe. And its legacy shaped Greece's politics, identity, and memory long after the last shots were fired. This was the Greek Civil War, a conflict of ideals, survival, and national soul. A war where no side claimed innocence, where civilians suffered the most, and where the world first saw how the Cold War would be fought. Not on distant frontiers, but in the hearts of divided nations.